What do you think the research is going to tell us? It's no more difficult to learn online than in the classroom, and this is based on research. However, it's really important that we're going to build these strategies. So why? Why? Well, we can interact and have resources outside of the classroom that are easily accessible. So if you're not familiar with that word accessible, that means you have access to, you can get easily. So sometimes when you're in your classroom and then you go home and you're studying, you may not have access or availability of some of that information. But when you're in an online environment, usually your professors provide all of that and more, right? So they're giving you lots and lots of resources. It's also more comfortable to learn in your own environment, right? So maybe you have studied at home in your pajamas or with a blanket over you or with something to drink like a glass of water or hot tea. So learning in your own environment makes you more relaxed. And the more relaxed you are, the more open you are to learning. So you're more open to take risks. And we know when we learn, we have to take risks. We have to try new things, okay? And we're less afraid to make mistakes if we're in a comfortable environment. We're more likely to participate if we're in a comfortable environment. So now that we know we can learn as much online as we can learn in a face-to-face class, how can we be a successful online learner? Well, we're going to go over 10 strategies for successful online learning. Strategy number 1, you have to think about how you learn best. So do you prefer to listen, read, write? Do you prefer to try things out? So when you're learning in a classroom, sometimes you don't really have to think about these things because the professor decides for you how you're going to learn. But when you're learning in an online environment, you kind of have to think, do I prefer to read all this or do I want to listen to the material? Do I want to take notes while I'm listening to the online lecture? So it's really important to know how you learn. Okay, what are your strengths? And you want to use that during your class time, but outside your class time as well. Okay, so that is our strategy number 1. Strategy number 2, this is a lot easier to do online than in face-to-face, but be the noisy student. So what does that mean, to be the noisy student? It means to be very active in the class. Be the student who asks the questions. Be the student who emails the teacher outside of class. Be the student to ask for feedback. So ask the teacher, how am I doing? How is my work? Okay, how did I do on that last test? How was that writing assignment? So you can be the noisy student in an online environment probably a lot more comfortably than you can in a classroom, right? Because when you're in a classroom and you're sitting with all these other students, you may not feel so comfortable to take that initiative. So you want to do that in the online environment. Strategy 3 focuses really on 3 things. That's why it's strategy 3. It's about intensive, extensive, and learning success. So when you're thinking about learning, you want to have intensive practice. What that means is you want to really intensely, thoughtfully focus on form and rules and theories for whatever you're studying. So that means accessing your course videos or your course audios multiple times, okay? So you don't want to just go through it once. That's the advantage of being in an online environment, okay? You can have access to that content again and again and again. The extensive is about your overall understanding. So after you intensely listen, you intensely go through those lectures, then you want to extensively practice what you've learned. Okay? So it's intensive plus extensive equals learning success. Now, rule number 3 applies to any classroom, right? So the more we interact with the new content and the more we practice that new content, the more we're going to learn. But this becomes even more true in an online environment because we can access, we have the ability to get that information again and again and again. Then we have strategy number 4, okay? And I wish my students were here today because I tell them this all the time. You have to schedule your class just as you would your face-to-face class. So what does that mean? You have to build in the practice on your schedule. So if you keep a calendar, okay, you have to set times on that calendar when you're going to practice, okay? So your class might be live online, or it might be sometimes face-to-face online and sometimes working at your own pace. Those times that you're working at your own pace, you need to create a regular schedule. So maybe you say every day at 9 o'clock, I'm going to work on my online class, okay? And that routine will increase your learning, just going through a routine. Strategy number 5, we talked about this a little bit why it's just as well to learn in an online environment as face-to-face, is because we're often more comfortable in our own spaces, right? But you have to build a learning space. So where are you going to be going to take your class every day? Make it a comfortable, quiet place, but you also don't want to make it too comfortable, okay? So it shouldn't be in your bed or on a big reclining chair, okay? You want to have a comfortable space, a quiet space, maybe away from your dogs, right, like me, but not too comfortable, okay? So a place that you can go, that it becomes your learning space, your learning space. Strategy number 6, you have to eliminate distractions. And this is the hardest thing to do when you're taking an online class, right? Because you have maybe a web browser open, maybe you have the internet open, and you might see things pop up. Your friends text you, your friends send you message. You might decide, oh, I want to go shopping online during class, okay? You have to really set that time aside and eliminate those distractions. So if you're taking a class on a computer, put your cell phone in a different room, okay? Keep it far away from you so you don't have that distraction. You don't want to be bothered by something else when you're in your class. Strategy number 7 here. Important to reach out to your professors and utilize resources. Okay, and I can't say this enough. When you're taking an online class, sometimes you feel like you might be all by yourself. Okay, you don't feel that community of a classroom. One way that you can increase that feeling of community is to reach out to your professors, send emails, even make a connection with a student in the class that you guys can communicate offline as well. In online classes, teachers put out a lot of extra resources, extra things to help you in class. Use those resources, okay? Use those resources. The best way to learn is to use a wide variety of tools, right? So not just one book or one lecture on the computer. Use all the resources together, okay? Strategy number 8 is about making peer connections. So making friends in the class, okay? One great thing that I know a lot of students are doing is they're setting up class social media groups. So your whole class might be on WhatsApp, where they share information on the app, and they practice, and they may even set up extra help, extra group sessions together. So think about making those connections with students in the classroom, because we learn just as much from our classmates as we do from our professors, believe it or not. Okay, so working together with others really can benefit your learning. It will not only deeper engage you in the class, but then you have an opportunity to make some friends as well, and you feel really connected to the place in which you're studying. Number 9, keep your motivation and goal in mind. Okay, the great thing about working at home in an online environment, you can write your goal on a piece of paper and post it right on your computer. So you're always looking at that goal. So you never lose sight of why you are doing what you're doing. Okay, so if your goal is to speak perfect English to go into the university, put that on your computer and look at that when you're studying. That will be motivating and keep you moving along. And strategy 10 is probably the most important. Hold yourself accountable. So what does that mean? If you don't do well on a test, put that on you. Okay? So if you score less than what you want to score on the test, don't put it on the teacher, or put it on, oh, it's because I took it on the computer, I didn't take it face to face. Put it on you. Ask yourself what more you could do to do better on the next go around. So being accountable as a student is so critical for your success throughout your university and college education. Okay, so make sure that if you're not meeting your goals, you're asking yourself, what did you do, or what could you do to better meet those goals? So keep yourself accountable. Okay, keep yourself accountable. So in summary here, you can learn as much or more online than you can in a face-to-face environment. But you have to be an engaged student. You have to want to interact with your classmates and your teachers, okay? You can't just be the student who wants to sit there and receive information. You have to be willing to go both ways with that. So you have to be a little more motivated, okay, and a little more goal-oriented to be really successful in an online environment. And remember, the benefits of taking an online class is that you have access to content anytime, any place. So if it's not convenient for you to be in class at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it's convenient for you to be in class at 10 p.m. at night, you can do that in an online environment, okay? If you're riding the bus to work or to school, you can look at your online content. You can study while you're traveling as well. So many advantages to learning online. So that's all I have. I think we have plenty of time for questions and answers here.
Thank you, Christina. So we are now leaving this portion of the presentation open. So if you have questions, and so Dalia, if you have anything that you are thinking, you've got a pretty captive audience today. So you are welcome to go ahead and ask as many questions as you would like.
Sure, I will ask a lot.
Good.
Okay. First of all, actually, I respect your opinion, and it's your personal opinion. So I respect it very much. And this online English program, or in general online, to learn online, helped me, and it's gave me a chance to learn English. But I have some noticed. or some question. The first thing about maybe how you learn best. Yes, strategy one. I think it's how you learn best. Yes.
I'm gonna let Christina answer since she's talking about your strategies that you provided.
Yes, strategy one is how you have to know how you learn best. I'll go back to that one. So how do you learn best?
Yes. But before that, I have just a point. You asked us if we learn online, it will be difficult. But it's not difficult. But I love to see people face to face, to talk with my teacher. You mentioned that before. We can connect with our teacher on email, but when you see your teacher face to face and your classmate, maybe it will be easier. Or in my opinion or personal opinion, I am a social girl. So I want to see people. I want to learn more about places, and you know that I'm I am an active girl. Active girl, yes. And how? Yes, you said about noisy students strategy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, actually, sometimes I don't ask very much when I feel I am acceptable this idea. I don't ask, but I love to hear people what they ask, because maybe I don't have this point or this idea on my mind. So when I listen, someone ask this question, maybe I will think more.
And that's a good point, because you're kind of being a noisy student because you're being an active listener, right? So when you
Yes,
listen to other people's questions, you're actually participating. Now it's quiet the way you're participating, but you're still participating
yes,
because you're listening to
but
them.
yes, but when I learn online, I can't know what the other students are asked. So just I will have
Ah, okay.
my own questions. So
That's a
um,
good point.
yes, very much. And I attend all my weekly conferences because I want to listen what the student will ask. But sadly, no one asked, just me. I
Only
think
you.
I'm not a boring girl, or just I want or noisy girl. Just I want to ask what they say.
Right. So yeah, you wish that
So,
they would engage a little bit more.
yes. So this point is not with my side, not in my side.
Right. Okay. That's fair.
Yes, actually, also strategy strategy number three. Yes. So you told us about we can reply the video many times.
Mhm.
So if you were attention girl or attention student, you won't be you won't be you want you want be want to reply this video again, or you want to listen what teacher said again. If you be very intention.
You're right. But sometimes it takes us more than one time to learn something or to
Yes,
get
and
everything, right?
yes, yes, and every student have a different situation.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, you may have studied something before, so it might be easier for you, right?
Yes. Strategy number four about schedule.
Mm-hmm. Do you make a
If you,
schedule?
yes, sure.
Oh,
It's
good.
actually it's maybe I'm not that talkative girl, but I want to ask and practice my language. So it's difficult to express myself, but I am regular student. So every time I have a calendar, I wrote in a paper what I will do, and when I will have a break.
I don't think that's a regular student. And all the teachers are laughing, so I think they agree with me, right? This is Yeah, you could probably give this presentation. You're not a regular student, right? You're already doing these things.
Yes. About, sorry if I'm asking a lot of things.
No, I love it.
Okay. Okay, I will keep ahead. Okay, number 5. Yes, you told us about we have personal environment or learning space.
Right.
But what if I love to go to university and I want to learn about all the places?
No,
Like,
that's great. But I think when it comes time to taking and or doing your work for your online class, that should be in a personal learning space.
yes.
But I think it's great that you want to get out and be on the university campus, right? But that's a different purpose.
Actually, I'm very excited to be a demt at UCF. So when I come, maybe I will do a lot of things and do a lot of good things.
Excellent. And
Yes,
if you come in the pathway, we take you a lot of places and do a lot of things with you.
I hope so. Yes. Just thank you very much for your presentation. It
Oh,
was
well,
great.
thank you. You have no more questions?
No, just.
Dahlia, I'm very impressed. You had great questions. You listened so attentively, and I will, I will join my colleague in saying you are not a typical student. You're very impressive. You can see how dedicated you are to learning and that you are already implementing so many really great strategies so that you are successful in your learning. Sounds like you do this probably in any environment, not just online learning, but even if you were in the classroom. So kudos to you. I'm going to just make sure, I think the rest of our folks here are OEP faculty. So is there anything you would like to ask an instructor other than Christina, who is an instructor and she created the content? But do you want to ask anything? We have Jonathan here today and we have Rachel. Those are 2 of our instructors in levels 5 and 6. And then we also have Michelle here who helps on our development side. So before we get off, I want to make just sure we give you every opportunity if you'd like to ask them anything.
No, I don't have any question for them.
No questions. Well, then we're just going to say thank you again so much for attending today. I surely enjoyed having this time with Christina. She's a gem for our team, as all of our members are, but I hope that you found it very helpful. We wish you the best in your studies, and we look forward to seeing you if it's in Orlando or online or whatever you decide to do. So thank you for joining us today.
Yes, I'm very glad to be here with you.
Likewise.
Thank you,
Nice
Donna. Nice meeting you.
And thank you, everybody. OEP team, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.